Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rush North America and EU. It is time for round number 8 of the season where we're heading to Sao Paulo, Brazil, here at Interlagos, one of the most famous and well-loved tracks on the Formula One calendar. This historic circuit has been a hotbed of a lot of action so far. We've seen beautiful racing around here in both F2 earlier on a few weeks ago, and also Oceania towards the beginning of the season, in both the regular season and in the evals. So we know that this track is going to provide some excellent racing here today. 2.677 miles around, 4.309 kilometers. It has 15 corners and a longest straight of 0.4 miles. It is going to be a fast and furious race here today, but we're going to go ahead and take you from start to finish here in today's event. It'll be myself, Patrick Ullman, a.k.a. Rekus, here in the commentary booth alongside the one, the only, the Game Hawk. How you doing today, mate?
I am doing very, very well, and I cannot wait to watch this race, especially because Brazil is actually my favorite track. That is actually my favorite track out of basically the entire schedule. Out of anything, Brazil has always been my favorite, so I am very excited to watch this race.
Indeed, it is always such a fun time here coming to Brazil. I mean, it's a certified banger. I mean, even if you don't put safety cars in the mix, even if you don't put weather into the mix, this track is beautiful. It's got high-speed corners, medium-speed corners, and this is probably the track that I would argue has probably the most amount of overtaking opportunities, because it's a wide track. So, I mean, I know some tracks that we visit are pretty narrow, like Singapore, and if we're talking about Oceania, we did Jeddah. We know those tracks are very narrow, but Brazil is not like that at all. So we know that it is a very, very wide track. So you'll see a lot of battling here. And if the weather gets involved too, which Brazil, it does like its weather shenanigans, this should be a pretty fiery one here, Game Hog, as we're just about to go ahead and start our singular qualifying session.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, and I can't wait to see it, because like as you said, Brazil is just a very wide track in general. But I think what makes it different is that it's not just wide on the straights, and arguably the second DRS zone especially is actually probably one of the most narrow parts of the track. So it's really kind of odd to see that some of the turns are actually wider than the straights. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how aggressive they are going to be when we get to the race, just because usually you go down the DRS, you make the pass either on the straight or you just try and get to the apex first. But I could definitely see battles starting to come up where we'll see a lot of side-by-side action, maybe a little bit of wheel banging, especially going into turn 1. So yeah, it's just Brazil's always a great track for competition just because of the track layout. And as he said in the description as well, whenever we were getting ready for this, a lot of championships and titles have been won or lost here. So just this track has a lot of history and a lot of really intriguing things about it.
Yeah, speaking of the championships, we might as well bring up our championship here for North America. I mean, right now, it is Meraki Don on top of the standings with 141 points. Tai in P2 with 112. So a pretty big gap between these two drivers, but there's still a good amount of racing left on the calendar. We do have about 4 more rounds, and funny enough, I was talking about Japan, and we go there next time around on November 1st. It'll be a sprint weekend, so that'll be a fun one, double opportunities, and that track is kind of the polar opposite of this one. It's very narrow through a majority of the track, not a lot of overtaking opportunities there, but there's certainly a lot here tonight, so we'll see how it goes. And in the Constructors' Championship as well, it is a heated battle between Ferrari, McLaren, and Aston Martin. Ferrari right now have 213 points, McLaren with 188, and Aston Martin with 171. So some pretty sizable gaps, but it really just takes one singular race to kind of throw the whole championship into disarray. But we do have our first few drivers doing their qualifying laps now. It looks pretty sunny. I haven't heard any inklings of this being a weather affected race, so it looks like it might be dry throughout, which is going to be a fun one here. I mean, Interlagos is fun, rain or shine. So let's just go ahead and talk about our grid here a little bit, as CF1 Harold is going to go ahead and be the first one to instead lap time in the Red Bull. He'll come across the line now, and his time to kick things off will be a 109.6, a very solid lap time to kick things off. So we have obviously the aforementioned Harold, and then we have Meraki Don, Joshua Bear. Splitsy is a new name here. I believe he is making his debut tonight. So it's good to see Splitsy jumping on in the Alpine. And then we have Stu, Illyrian, Robert Kushnerik, Nemesis, Wildcat. Your boy CJ, I believe, is another rookie driver jumping in. And then we have Nishka, Trevor, Barry, the Governor, Lopro, and John DT making up our 16 cars on the NA grid here tonight. It'll be an interesting one, but something I actually just kind of noticed in terms of championships. We were talking about the constructors a bit earlier on here, GameHawk, and Aston Martin has only one singular car here, and that is the driver who had a really good debut last time out of Robert Kushnerik.
Yeah, and that is definitely going to have a lot of implications, especially having only one car representing. But as you said, he did have a very, very good opening debut. So I do think if he's able to replicate that, I think Aston Martin will be okay. But you just got to be wary, because especially since you have like the two Ferraris, I think those two are probably going to be the biggest competition for this race, because you only have one Aston Martin and you only have one McLaren as well. Especially the fact that Tai is not in this race. So this is really Ferrari's chance to really, do their stuff and trying their best to get either big of a gap or to really just solidify their positions.
Yeah, this is a good chance to kind of lock it in. Not too many rounds left to go here. I believe there's only about 4 more rounds to go once we wrap up here in Brazil. So I'll double check that really quickly. But yeah, actually, so we only got 4 more rounds to go. And it's going to be an interesting one, because Jeddah, I didn't mean to say Jeddah, but Jeddah's on the schedule as well. Japan is a sprint weekend, so it'll be the last sprint weekend of the season here in NA. And then we go to Qatar, which Qatar is going to be a really tricky one because tire degradation there is really tough. And this is one I don't think you've ever experienced, GameHawk, but we have a Jeddah 100% race as the penultimate round of the season. So that may be short quali followed by a full 50 laps around the Jeddah Corniche circuit as our penultimate round of the season. Then we wrap things up in Abu Dhabi. So there'll be a still a good amount of racing left to go here, but you do have a pretty good variety of circuits to race on here towards the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely a good variety of tracks there. I agree, or you're right, by the way, that I have not experienced the 100% Jeddah race yet here in the Rush Racing League, but I can't wait to see that. That is going to be definitely a lot of fun to see the 100% race. I've done a 100% race in Jeddah. I've actually won a Jeddah race 100% against like the max AI. It gets grueling. I can definitely attest that doing the 100% race, it's only about 50 laps, like just about over 50 laps, and it can be very, very almost time consuming, where it can get mundane in a hurry. But yeah, as you said, gonna be a lot of fun to watch that 100% race here for the Rush Racing League. Because let's be honest, Rush Racing League can basically make any track a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, actually, I remember earlier on, and it's a hot spot for chaos too, because in Oceania, it was the second round, or no, it was the season opener for OCE, and I did Div 4 and Div 6 for that, so I commentated 2 of those 100% races, and yeah, it gets grueling, because the margin of error on that track, because let's take a look at this track, for example, here in Interlagos. Very wide track, lots of runoff and grass, so if you go wide or make a mistake, there's a good chance that you'll lose time, obviously, but there's a good chance that you could just kind of come back onto the track when it's safe and ultimately just still have a decent run of things. But when we get to Jeddah, the walls are just right there, so if you breathe wrong, you're in the walls and your race could be done and dusted, or at least you're gonna at minimum knock off an end plate or two. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see how that 100% Jeddah race goes. Like you said, it is grueling, it is tough. It is definitely not for the faint of heart, but some of these drivers have actually already done that in OC. The drivers I can name right off the top of my head that I know for a fact have done it. I know the 2 Haas drivers have done it, Nishka and Zagovner. They have both done that. And actually, while we were kind of talking at some point earlier, we did get another McLaren. We got Freed, which I believe is another new driver, so quite a few rookies here on the night. He'll be subbing in for Tai in that McLaren, and I mean, hey, we've seen rookies do some pretty good things before. I mean, look at Kusnarek. He had a fantastic time in Singapore.
Yeah, and he already is doing well here right now. He's P6 with, you can see the times right now. The times are really fairly close right now. You can see Meraki Don just set the fastest lap with a 108.2. And Trevor in second is a 108.5. So you can already see that across the board right now from P1 to P8, it's less than a second that separates them. So, I mean, it's right there. I mean, for any of these rookie drivers, for the ones that are making their debut, if you should be very happy to see that it's a very close grid right now, because all it takes, especially here right now in qualifying, is one flying lap, and the rookies can be right in the prime position to do some real major damage in the race. Indeed,
yeah, and it's interesting that we're seeing so many drivers kind of retire early. I wonder, because I believe it is short quality this time around, so they're just calling it with several minutes to go on the clock. There is a rookie driver, though, I will say, in P4, Splitsy actually having a good debut as well. So, I mean, we might have another Robert Kusnarek on our hands where we have an absolute rock star on debut. We'll see what he can do here. I mean, he's doing pretty good work in the Alpine, I must say. It's really awesome to see these rookies do extremely well. I mean, I was really happy to see Kusnarek have a really good performance. And now Splitsy looks like he's going to have a really good performance too. Because here's the thing, right? If settings didn't get changed while we were getting stuff ready for the stream, which I don't believe they did, so I believe this should still be a short quali, then, I mean, Splitsy really just needs to improve by literally 1/10 of a second, and he's up in the second place right behind Meraki, who is our current championship leader. So Splitsy has a really good chance here to do something extraordinary. And I mean, especially because the Alpine team in NA really do need something extraordinary to happen here, because they're down in dead last, only 1 point behind the Saubers in NA. So they really got to pick up the pace here, and Splitsy might just be that driver for them. But Freed also isn't doing too bad. He's currently out-qualifying his teammate by a few tenths here, so the rookie driver's really showing out tonight. Yeah, they definitely came with their A game. And I also am kind of with you on this, that you can see that a lot of the drivers are now going back out on their outlap. So
unless, like you said, that something changed, I'm not entirely sure why those 4 drivers kind of retired early. But yeah, right now it comes down to how well the drivers, the rookie drivers, can do, because it's right there. And you're talking about like Splitsy, he is right there behind Meraki Don. So if he does just well enough, there's a chance that he could be front row right behind Meraki Don, and that would be an amazing start for a debut. And you know that would be, especially for Alpine, like you said before, that they would really like to see a good result, that it would basically be the good result for the team and for the driver making his debut.
Yeah, even in chat, we're saying that Robert Kushnerik is actually kind of critical of his time, saying that P6 is terrible, which I would kind of disagree, because I mean that is a pretty good spot to be in at the opening stages of quality. There's still a good amount of times left to go. Meraki Don has retired, so he is going to call it quits here. Here's the thing though too, is I mean, we were talking about lap time comparisons earlier on, and I mean, from the quick time trial lap I did, his quality time is better than mine. So I mean, I can't really I can argue with him that his lap time is actually pretty dang solid with a 108.6.
Yeah, that I would definitely agree that being in P6 is definitely not a bad place to be. As there, he'll go ahead and retire as well. That's definitely not a bad place to be. And yeah, we were both doing the time trials, and I could definitely say that my time was a little bit slower, but maybe with a little bit of practice, me and you, Rekus, we'll join together as the commentating team, and we'll race with these guys. Am I right?
The amount of people that have been bugging me to join at least a social race is insane, and I have been saying that it's not gonna happen. To be fair though, looking at this, at least looking at my time that I had in my practice session earlier, if I were to do this, I would be in P17. The only person I would be ahead of here is Nasty Stew. Because I had I think it was like 110.3, I think is what I had earlier. I'd have to go back and look, but that can happen later on. But it is the final 3 minutes of qualifying here, and our top 6 have retired. A few drivers still out on laps. But yeah, that's surprisingly, that's gonna be Q1 kind of done and dusted here now. I still don't think things have changed, so I think this is a singular quality session. I mean, because I think it was originally scheduled to be a full quali, but we had only 15 drivers by the time we actually started the session, so Q1 would have been absolutely kind of useless. But don't worry, even though we won't have as much qualifying action, we do have plenty of race action here, as it is 36 laps once we're done with qualifying here, GameHawk.
And actually, we just got confirmation from the chat, from Meraki Don himself, that they said it is a full qualifying, actually. So it did get
so
switched.
Switch it back.
Yeah, so they did switch it back right before we started. So that is why all the drivers retired, but now it makes more sense.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, that makes a heck of a lot more sense. So really, the only cars in the drop zone right now are the 2 Racing Bulls. Nasty Stew is not going to be able to get out in time for another lap. Nope, he's out now, so we'll see. There's not a lot of time left on the clock, so really, I mean, pretty much from P17 to P12, actually probably realistically P17 to P14 is kind of they're kind of the hot seats right now, because right now the Racing Bulls are in the drop zone. And it's a big spin there for Nasty Stew. A bit of a nasty spin for him there, as John is about to go ahead and begin his lap. We'll hop on board with the Racing Bulls as he gets ready to go through a lap. He's going to burn the battery here onto the back straight. And now with a minute to go, this will be his last lap here. So he's got to beat a 109.8 to get out of the drop zone now. So anything probably mid 109s would be ideal for him. So he's going to go ahead and burn it down the second DRS zone here, or technically the first DRS zone. He goes through turn number 4, and now he's going to make his way up through the technical sector 2. He's coming up to turns 5 or 6, and now he's going through turn number 7, coming up to 8. And now this is really the only part of the track where you can't really overtake on, but in a qualifying lap, this is a very crucial section here. He's going through turn number 10 now. He's going to make the run into turn 11. And once he gets through turn 11, and actually once he gets through turn 12 here, he's reaching the end of sector 2. From here on out, it is flat out, but he is down on his time, though. A bit of a snap there coming through 12, and that actually might be John done and dusted here. So I think our qualifying order is set. The other 3 cars in the hot seat are not going to improve. Nasty Stu is improving, but he needs to improve by several seconds to get out of the drop zone here. So it looks like the drivers we will be losing at the end of this qualifying session are both of the Racing Bulls.
Yeah, and qualifying might be done. Does actually, look at that. So Nasty Sue actually improved by almost a second here. So with him and Wildcat being the last 2 drivers out, I'm actually kind of curious to see what time he gets, because he is improving. As now Nasty Sue will come across the line, and he will improve by almost a second, but it definitely will not be enough. So you were right, as both Racing Bulls are going to be the ones who are eliminated. But Wildcat is still going, and I think that Wildcat has switched to switched his ERS off, so it looks like he's probably going to peel into the pits then. Or no, he'll just go ahead and finish the lap. But yeah, qualifying 1 done and dusted. And what are your starting thoughts here?
I think the rookies are going to be some drivers to watch out for here, but so there we go. It is Q1, so we will go ahead and lose the Racing Bulls here of John, DT, and Nasty Stu. Messed up the middle and final sectors from John DT, as he has told us here in chat. It might have been enough, but he would have had to make up about 0.3 of a second to get out of Q1. But we're going to jump straight to Q2, and then it'll be from P11 to P15, and then we'll have our top 10 shootout to wrap up qualifying. And then it is a 36 lap race, so a 50%er here today, as per usual when it comes to Rush Racing League North America. But next week is going to be a bit different because it is a sprint weekend. So you'll get 2 races for the price of 1 when we go to the Suzuka circuit, Honda's home test track. So here we go. It is going to be Q2 here. We have Meraki Don, Joshua Bayer, Spitzy, Illyrian, Rapper Kusnerik, Wildcat, your boy CJ, Harold, Freed, Project Nemesis, Nishka, Trevor, Barry, the Governor, and a Low Pro. And it looks like all of our rookies have made it to Q2 here. So to give some extra thought, congrats on the rookies to making it to the second stage of qualifying on the first time of asking.
Yeah, definitely good job by the rookies to get into Q2. And I am curious to see the times that they'll set here in Q2, especially the fact that all of the times were roughly within a second of each other, like from P1 down almost to P9. Like all the times were within 1 second of each other, including some of the top rookies like Splitzy and Kuznerik and CJ. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to carry that here into Q2 and see how many rookies can get into Q3. Because, I mean, let's be honest, if a lot of the rookies can get into Q3, that would really mean something for them making their debut and all making the final qualifying session.
Indeed, yeah, and I mean, that also puts them in a decent-ish position to kind of capitalize on any mistakes that any of our front runners might make. Because turn 1 is a tricky corner. It is a very sharp corner, arguably one of probably the second sharpest corners on the circuit. The only corner I think would be sharper is turn 10. But it is a very sharp and angular corner, so we may see some contact with the top few. And I mean, just looking at it here, let's say this qualifying order finishes as it is at this current time, right? Joshua Bear and Meraki Don could collide or have some kind of incident in turn 1. and then that allows Splitsy just to jump right on through. So, I mean, it could be pretty beneficial for the rookies, but I mean, to get to there, you really gotta get through Q2. So, I mean, considering we have 3 rookies on the track right now, we have Reed, Spitzy, and CJ. So if all those drivers get through, then I mean, I think some podium spots might be fair game.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Some podium spots would definitely be up for grabs, possibly. But right now, Splitsy was the fastest of the rookies, and I'm kind of curious to see how he'll fare against Meraki Don, because Meraki Don is notorious for improving by significant margins as the qualifying goes, as Ilarion will set the fastest lap or the first lap at a 108.3. But I'm curious to see how the rookies will compare to kind of the fastest driver on the grid, the Meraki Don in the Ferrari. I'm just curious to see how it'll turn out.
Yeah, I mean, because anything can happen in racing, and that's something that we have definitely learned from our time commentating here in NAE So, I mean, Lyrian on top of the times now, but we know Lyrian can be a very aggressive driver. He's not afraid to get his elbows out, and sometimes that is exactly what a driver needs to get some good results. I mean, we saw in Mexico primarily with him and Meraki Don, I believe, just kind of slugging it out. But about Meraki Don here, it is still granted very early in the session. We still have over 10 minutes to go in the session, but he's had 2 lap invalidations back to back. So, and you can see a bit of a wiggle there coming into turn 10. So it's not exactly all sunshine and roses here for the current championship leader.
Yeah, so far, yeah, and even
fighting with that car.
Yeah, I know he is going back. He's just fighting that car going through those turns, especially through sector 3. But yeah, so far not doing really great. But I was just pointing out that Joshua Bear is now the top leader right now, as he's gonna pull and he spins. Maybe a little bit of a commentating curse there as he spins going around. I believe that's turn 10. He spins again, trying to get back on the track. Maybe I commentated curse, but he did still set the fastest lap for the current qualifying at a 108.2, just over Illyrian.
Yeah, just a little over a tenth ahead, and I mean, it looks like Joshua Bears, he's definitely going to come back into the pits after this one, because, I mean, he burned up so much that time. No! Yeah, no, he's in the pits. I thought he was going to try to follow. Oh, look at this! Okay, I just witnessed an overtake in the pits. I've only seen this maybe once or twice before, but yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen too many overtakes done in the pits before, so I mean, good thing it was qualifying, not the actual race, but if that was a race, then I think we both would have been losing our minds there.
Yeah. If he pulls that off during the race, like my mic just might turn off, because it just may not catch the amount of noise and yelling that I would do if I witnessed that happen during a race. But maybe that's his practicing, that he's already trying to practice that for the race.
Try not to do what Argo did in F2 the other night and break his glasses. That actually did happen, funny enough. And so we were watching some of the battles in the F2 race in Spa-Francorchamps, which is a track that I'm kind of sad hasn't shown up on either NA or OCE's calendars, but I digress. So there's some battles here, and he went to go to adjust his glasses, and he has half frames. So if I remember correctly, I think it's like the top part actually holds the lenses in, and there's no bottom to it. So he went to go adjust his glasses, and he got excited, and it popped the lens out, and in the process he managed to yeet it across the room, from his words. it reminded me of the one content creator that we see with he does food stuff. His name is I think Jordan Stallion, I believe his name is, where he ate a thing of food that's so good and then just yeet his glasses with the speed of an NFL quarterback. It's pretty funny sometimes. I think so just try not to do that as funny as it would be, but
the good news is that at least if that did happen, I do have replacements. So at least I do have like other glasses that I could use if that happens.
that is a very good thing, because I don't think Rush would like to pay for glasses because of some shenanigans on track, especially if it's qualifying dive bomb or pit lane dive bombs like we've seen already here at parts of the day. But it is still early times here in qualifying here for NA, so it is still one more session to go after this, so still a good amount of time on the clock here. But it is going to be interesting because this time, or last time out, we lost the bottom 5. And now this time, we're going to go ahead and lose we lost the bottom 2 last time, and now we're losing the bottom 5 this time around. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how this all just plays out, because, I mean...
That was a... Sorry for my reaction. That was a flyer of a lap from Meraki Don as he takes over the pole position. I was just wondering in my mind that we had gone this far into Q2 and he had not set a lap yet, but he made it count there, as now he is up into first place now. And one thing else I do want to call attention to, both of the Haas's, Nishka and the Governor, setting similar times, and they're both up into P5 and P6 now. That's really, really good to see from the 2 Haas drivers there.
Indeed, yeah, it's always good to see that. The 2 Williams teammates in OC are Haas teammates here tonight in NAEU, so these guys are going to go ahead and give it a go. We'll see how they manage to do. They're both in the top 10. Right now, the top 10 or top 6 separated by just less than a second. Nishka about 3/10 quicker than his teammate here on the night, and now I think everybody is just going to go ahead and gear up and get ready to go for the final runs of Q2 here tonight. So we know that the drivers are going to go ahead and kind of queue up and get ready, switch out the tires, get your fuel load correct, and then just get ready to go here.
Yeah, and I am curious, and surprisingly, there is still one driver that has not set down a lap time, and that's Kusnarek. He has not set a lap time right now so far, and we have 5 minutes left in Q2. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't put down a lap time yet.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the case that we kind of saw with Meraki Don at the kind of get-go of the session, where he would put down some decent laps, but they would all get invalidated due to track limit violations. So that could be a thing that has been befallen the singular Aston Martin on track here today. But, I mean, granted, he's still got time. It is a bit of a shorter lap, as we've seen here. Our pole time in this session anyway is a 1:07.9. So it's not a long outlap either. I think the outlap is probably roughly about a minute 10, maybe a minute like 20 at most for the outlap. So I think he's definitely got time. He's going to start his outlap now. But yeah, it's not a very long outlap, so I wouldn't really be worried if I was him. And we have to remember, he's got to get within that top 10 though. So, I mean, some drivers might be in the danger zone here. So we currently have Kustarik, CJ, Harold, Wildcat, and Nemesis all in the drop zone at the moment. But we still have a lot of racing to go, a lot of qualifying here left to go. But if you want to get on to the next stage of qualifying, you got to get through Q2. So these drivers are going to have to really put the pedal to the metal, light up the afterburners, and just try to get the best lap time they can. And actually, what I'll do here is Robert Kushnick's about to begin his lap, and actually, I'll let you narrate this one, GameHawk.
Yes, sir, I will. As Kushnick is going to go down the long front straightaway, DRS open the whole entire way, and then all the way down into third or second gear, going down through turns 1 and 2. And turn 3, you get as much speed as you can into the second DRS zone, where this might be an area that we see a lot of overtakes as he heads down into turn 4 and into turn 5. Arguably the thinnest part of the track, the most narrow. And then he heads into sector 2, and this is the place we talked about earlier, where this is a lot of time found and lost in qualifying, but this also could be a very tricky place for the race as well. And right now Kuzmarek is doing a very good job so far looking like he has a great lap set so far, as now he will set into sector 3 around turn 13 into turn 14, and then the long Brazil straight where it is just all flat out speed, and he's going to use everything possible, 210 miles an hour, and he is going to grab P2 here in qualifying 2, and he's going to overshoot turn 1 coming out of it. But what a flyer of a lap that was for Kuzmarek. He did not set a time previous to that, but the one lap that he did set, what a screamer that was.
We have said before, and we'll say it again, it takes one lap to really make or break your quali session. And that was one that definitely made his quali session here. I mean, that is a beautiful lap time. He was critical of himself for the last time he said in Q1. I don't think he's critical of that one. Just barely within the minute 8s, almost into the minute 7s. What a good lap it is there from Kuzmarek. You got to pat yourself on the back for that one. Although it is not done yet, so he would have to try to go ahead and improve on that time coming into Q3 coming up. But right now, there's still a few drivers in that dreaded drop zone. We have CJ, Harold, Wildcat, Nemesis, and the rookie Fareed. So 2 rookies now in the drop zone. And in the bit of this rookie battle here, it would mean that Spitzy would actually be the highest qualified rookie here on the night. Fareed is kind of trying to build up to get a go. Wildcats, he's going to go ahead and do another lap. Nemesis and Harold are done, so those 2 will surely be eliminated. So the drivers who can improve are Wildcat, CJ, and Fareed. Wildcat already kind of locking up going through turn number 1, so it's going to be not a super ideal here for the second Ferrari on track, but still a lot of places to make it up. He needs to improve by quite a margin if he wants to get out. He's got to improve by about 0.3 of a second. Probably he ideally wants to get up about half a second if he wants to be safe here on the night. We'll see how he goes through sector 2. Now this is the part where I believe a lot of drivers have been making or breaking their lap times here, is through this tricky and technical second half of sector 2. The timers run out, so drivers are going to be on their final laps of Q2 here at the moment. He's going to go ahead and hook it around. Sector 2, what's his time? He's improving by about 0.4 of a second, so if you can get a good sector 3 here, which is pretty much mostly flat out, then Wildcat might be seeing a Q3 appearance here. He's going to fire it across the line. It'll be good enough for P11, and he's out. So all eyes turn to the McLaren of Fareed. He is improving, but not by enough, I don't think, unless he gets a really strong sector 2 here, or sector 3, but he's invalidated. So he's out of Q2. And now the last driver who could make any kind of change is CJ. He needs to improve by a healthy margin here. He needs well over half a second to make the improvement. Is he going to get it coming across the line? Will he improve? He's going into pit, so I'm going to say that's going to be a no. So we have lost Wildcat, Fareed, Project Nemesis, Harold, and your boy CJ. And now it is down to our top 10.
Yeah, it looked like that was going to be a fantastic lap by Wildcat. He just missed out by 0.017 away from the governor secured his top 10 spot, and that's both Haas's who make it into Q3. And you predicted it earlier, and the last rookie right now standing is Splitsy in P6 as he heads into Q3.
Indeed. So I mean, even then, even for I mean, it's spectacular for a rookie to get in Q2. So I want nothing taken away from Freed and CJ as our drivers we have lost here are Wildcat, Freed, Project Nemesis, Harold, and CJ. I mean, those two rookies at least got to Q2, which is pretty good in its own right, considering the NA field can be very competitive at times. But yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Splitsy for getting into that Q3 appearance. But we'll see if he can go ahead and continue getting into the top echelons of qualifying. But it is one more session to go here in qualifying. So now it's going to be our top 10 shootout. Meraki Don is the favorite to get pole position here, but once again, anything can happen as there will not be any form of rain here in the final qualifying session. But who knows? The race could be a different ballgame.
Yeah, I am actually, well, we can say I made the prediction before we started streaming, but I had originally predicted that I said qualifying was going to be dry and then the race was going to be wet. But so far, I'm kind of surprised that there's been basically no threat of rain at all. But I guess the prediction is still on, but I'm curious. But before we get there, we have to go through Q3 and see who will set the fastest lap and who will get that coveted pole position.
Yeah, we will see here. I mean, Meraki Don is the favorite to do that as of right now. He is currently in the championship lead by a considerable margin, and both of his championship rivals are not present tonight. So, I mean, he really has no real pressure from anybody on the grid. But, I mean, once again, anything can happen here. So, and here's another fun fact for you. Just looking through the teams here, Haas is the only team to have both cars in the top 10 in this qualifying session.
Hey, that is actually very interesting, and that's going to be really good for them that they'll finally get they'll be in a prime position to get a lot of points here for the team, for like the constructors. And looking at the chat as well, the Wildcat is saying that he is pissed, and I kind of sympathize with him after watching that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good lap there from the Ferrari, and I think it's actually, I mean, he had a really good potential, so he could have made it 2 teams. Actually, it would have been still only 1 team or with both drivers in Q3, because he would have knocked out the governor from Haas if he did get that P10 position there. If that lap did play through like he would have wanted it to. But once again, points aren't really scored in quali. You do have the big race coming up, 36 laps here. That is going to be that's going to be where the money is at, essentially. So you can still make up some good positions in the race. And that's the beauty of qualifying here, is even though qualifying is really important, especially at some tracks, but with Interlagos being such a pass-friendly track, it's not as crucial as it will be like next week in Japan when we go to Suzuka.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I apologize for my reaction. I was going through the drivers as they were starting their laps. Meraki Don started his laps, but he clipped the grass going into turn 1, and I got really concerned. But we talked about it earlier that Brazil with the long runoffs, and that saved Meraki Don, as the long runoff meant that he didn't collide with the wall. But a bit of a very hairy moment to start off with for the leader right now, as Illyrian will go ahead and get the first lap in with a 1 minute 7.809. That might be his fastest lap of all of qualifying so far.
I think it is, actually. So that just shows that Track Evolution is pretty red hot right now. So, I mean, Meraki Don's time is definitely not at all representative. That it's a 122, so that's definitely not his true pace. I mean, we've seen him getting into the 107s. I think he was the only driver to get into the 107s in Q2, so he'll definitely get a better time and jump up the score. Splitsy now is going to go ahead and begin his lap. He's going to go ahead and try to make it through. He's into sector 2 now. and we'll see what he can do. But so far, I think he's got pretty good potential. I mean, we said the same thing about Kushnarek, and I mean, Kushnarek so far having a Q3 appearance of his own.
Yeah, and I agree. And I mean, one consistency that we've noticed through all of the sessions is that despite Meraki Don and Kuznarek and Illyrian setting really good times, the majority of the times have all been relatively close. That, I mean, there's like a group of drivers, usually about 5 drivers or so, that are usually within a second of each other. So they're all right there. As look at that. The Meraki Don will set his first actual real lap time, and it'll be a 1 minute 8.8 or 0.008. So Illyrian will hold on to provisional pole for right now.
Indeed. The thing I'm actually really excited for here is just how this qualifying is going to wrap up. I mean, we know that the track is going to be the most rubbered up in the final 3 minutes of quali usually. So, I mean, we could see some excellent lap times. We might even see something knocking on the door of a 106, which, I mean, can you imagine a 106 here in NA qualifying? That would probably be easily one of the best qualifying times in Interlagos, and I actually think that might be stronger than some of the high tier Rush OCE divisions.
Yeah, if we see a 106 here, that might be cause for us to get loud and not break our glasses loud, but at least get loud and witness that, because that would be an absolutely insane lap. But I mean, so far all the drivers have been very, very consistent and fast. So I mean, you talk about comparing North America to OCE, that I mean, NA is showing that they are very good for competition, that they're very quick and they are all here to play.
Indeed, they're all here to give it their A game, or their NA game, I should say. But that was a stretch and a half. But we both agree on the same thing. These drivers are really bringing it their all. They're leaving everything on the line. 2 drivers have yet to set lap time here. It is Joshua Bayer and Nishka, the only drivers yet to set a time here in the Q3 stage. And now I think everybody's just gonna, or for the most part, everybody's just gonna go ahead and wait out the clock and then get ready to put in some storming lap times, because right now Illyrian is on the top of the table right now with a 107.8, the only driver in the 107s here in Q3. But I got a feeling that is likely going to change as we get into the dying stages of the session, as Kushnarek has been disconnected, and I will get him back in.
Yeah, and all the drivers, as you said, all the drivers still going now into the pits. So now, most likely it'll maybe not turn into a shootout as we would think, like coming out of a safety car, but it's gonna be close, because I mean, if you look down the grid right now, from P1 down to even P7, it's all within 1 second. All of these drivers are within 1 second of each other. So I mean, it may come down to literal milliseconds, or like barely the thousandths of seconds, to decide this qualifying, just because all these drivers are so close together right now.
Indeed, and unfortunately I don't have Kushnarek on my friends list. I did send him a friend request earlier on. Hopefully, well, Wildcats host, or Wildcats out, so Wildcat will hopefully be able to get him in. It'd be unfortunate for him to kind of lose out on quali, especially at this stage, because it'll be really, really crazy to kind of see that Kushnarek just gets dropped down way lower than I think he really, because he's got pace for top 5 easily. But we do have Joshua Bayer and Nishka still having set times yet, so I think those two can really shake up this qualifying order, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, and good news, I did have Kuznarek added, so I did send him an invite, and he did rejoin back in the session, so I think we are good.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, let's hope. Because, I mean, right now, this is pretty much going to be really the time when the track's probably going to be the hottest. It's going to be a time where all the cars are going to be out on track trying to get these times done and dusted and try to get the best time humanly possible. Few drivers trying to beat the traffic coming out right now, so we do have some drivers currently on outlaps. Splitsy and championship leader Meraki Don trying to go ahead and kind of beat the traffic here. We do have Illyrian also out on the outlap, so I think there might be some time on the board here for some of these drivers.
Yeah, and I just also want to drag attention to Splitsy as well. The only rookie driver here, we could say, the driver making his debut, currently in P6 with a 108.594, and he's so far P6. That's really good for him, as he'll be the first driver to start the next lap here, as we have 2 minutes left here in Q3. But all in all, starting right now for P6 and seeing if he can improve. But that's a really good start here for him in P6 if he's able to either hold this or improve for the race.
Indeed, yeah. So we'll just kind of have to see how this one all just kind of plays out here. But I mean, still getting into Q3 in general on your debut is really dang impressive now, as Splitsy is going to go ahead and get through Sector 2, the technical part of Sector 2 here. So we'll see how much he can hold on, if he can go ahead and jump up the order. About a minute and a half left of qualifying here, then we're going to jump straight into the race itself. So got a lot of action for you coming up here. It is a purple Sector 2 though. He is improved by 0.3 of a second. That won't be good enough for pole, but at least put him right behind Trevor. It might actually put him ahead of Trevor depending on how he goes too. He's burned up all of his battery here. Battery's depleted. He comes across the line.
Ooh.
It is the beginning of the second row for the rookie driver. But there's so many drivers still on a lap here. We'll see who can get it done.
Yeah, that was a great lap by Splitsy. I mean, you predicted it right there to be right up near Trevor, and he's not too far off of Meraki Don's pace either, which that is great, a great thing to see, especially just not for qualifying, but also for the race, because that shows that right now he's got the pace as Illyrian is going to set a 1.7.5.
That is a brilliant lap time there for the Sauber. I mean, Meraki Don's gonna have a tough time trying to beat that, but we'll see. Current championship leader is gonna go in and try to make his way on through. So he is gonna go ahead and do what he can. He's in Sector 2 right now with 10 seconds on the clock, so this will be the final lap for pretty much everybody on the board. Nishka jumps up ahead over Meraki Don by only 0.4 of a second. Joshua Bear jumps up the order too. And Splitsy is done. He will be in P5 at the moment. It is a purple Sector 2 though for Meraki Don, as he's going to go to make his way through the last couple of corners here. It's all flat out from here. Can he get the pole position away from Illyrian? He's going to come across the line. He does by not a massive margin, but he improves by over half a second on his time. And hot dang, that's a lap there from the championship leader.
What a lap by Meraki Don. He was going to be, as soon as we saw Illyrian make that lap, we knew it was going to be a battle to be able to beat that. But unbelievable lap by Meraki Don. And now Kuzarek will also get a massive improvement from P9 up into P5. Just unbelievable lap from Meraki Don. What a qualifying.
You want to hear the fun thing about what you just said there, GameHawk? Keyword, qualifying. It's already intense enough in quali, and we got 36 laps of racing after this. So, and we don't just have 10 drivers, we have 17. 17 drivers ready to give it a go around the circuit here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So, this could be probably, I mean, this has got all the potential of being race of the season here. We got some red hot rookies doing fantastic work. I mean, you got Splitsy into Q3. He got P6 on debut, which is really impressive for the rookies, and all the rookies at minimum making Q2. So, I mean, this race is scheduled to be absolute cinema here.
Absolute cinema indeed. I don't think there's a better word to describe what this upcoming race is going to be. And unbelievable qualifying. And I agree with you. This race is about to be just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think this one's about to be a certified NAEU classic here as we go through our top 10. It is Meraki Don setting the pole position time by just a tenth of a second. And Ilarian ahead of Joshua Baer, Nishka, Robert Kusnerik, Splitsy, Trevor, Lopro, the Governor, and Barry FC running on the top 10. There's no qualifying penalties either, because I know in the last few NA rounds we have seen some quality penalties, but none of that here today, and we have 17 drivers all ready to turn up the heat here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Now, the question does become, is there rain on the horizon? Is the track going to be absolutely pouring when we get to it? We'll find out. And no, it is sunny as it can get out here.
This is definitely not normal for Brazil. I feel like every time I watch a Brazil race, there's always some form of threat of rain, or we get to the track and it's already raining. But so far for qualifying and for the race, it looks like it's going to be bone dry.
Which means that we're going to see drivers with more confidence going into this race and more drivers trying those daring overtakes. And like we said earlier, there are so many places to overtake here at Interlagos. I mean, really just that stretch from like turn 7 to turn 10 is really the only parts of the track you can't really make consistent overtakes on, or realistically from about turn 8 to turn 12 is roughly the only places where you can't make good overtakes. The other 12 corners, on the other hand, you can really get some spicy overtakes here. So I think it's really just a matter of time before we see some generational racing here in NA. This is shaping up to be a certified NAEU classic here at Sao Paulo, Brazil. As the drivers are finalizing their strategies and they're about to get ready to go racing here. 36 laps around Sao Paulo, Brazil. It is going to be a fun race. It is going to be a tricky race. It is not going to be for the faint of heart. But nothing worthwhile is ever easy here, especially at Rush NAEU. So we're going to see who's going to get it done. Can Meraki Don hold on to the lead going into turn 1? And many more questions that we're about to answer as the 5 red lights are on the gantry. And it is lights out and away we go here in Interlagos, and a good amount of field was Ghost at the start, but Meraki Don does hold that outside line, which is pretty advantageous here because the outside quickly becomes the inside here. Few drivers going wide. You do have a car off in the grass. It is Nishka almost colliding there. So a bit of a rough start there from the Haas. He is going to drop a few positions already, and he is down into 8th. He's going to battle out with Barry here. Lots of cars going wide here. Some contact and some parts being knocked around here as we see bits of carbon fiber flying off all sorts of these F1 machines. But look at this, Illyrian and Meraki Don, the 2 drivers that were pretty much head and shoulder above the rest in qualifying, have already pulled out a massive gap here in the race.
Yeah, and my reactions were just for the entire grid. It seemed like some of the people were playing bumper cars. They weren't racing F1 cars, as we have, I believe that's Nasty, who spun out. Now he'll get going again. But yeah, it looked like some of the cars were playing bumper cars going down through the first set of turns and into the second DRS zone.
I mean, yeah, it is. It's always a crazy race here in Interlagos. And look at this, Joshua Baer, Trevor going side by side going into turn 1. And it looks like it's going to be later on the brakes there for Joshua. So he will keep that position. But, I mean, there's going to be no quarter given. And look at this. They're racing in the pit lane now, trying to get any kind of advantage. Bumping and barging from the Mercedes and the Red Bull. It is 2021 all over again. And they are fighting it out tooth and nail with every fiber of their being. And look at this. They're going to try to duke it out. Now it's the technical bits of Sector 2 where it's not exactly easy to get overtakes done, but the only part where dirty air really does affect you. It is likely to be a one-stop race here from the mediums to the hard. So we'll see who keeps that strategy up. But man, what a few opening laps. And actually, it's only lap 2. We've already seen a ton of action.
Yeah, a ton of action indeed, and you can just see how close all of the drivers are. I mean, the only like big gap that we see right now is at the front where Illyrian and Meraki Don are now. You see, Meraki Don set a fastest lap, and then Alari. Oh, and there's contact. The Aston Martin's in the wall. Kuzneric collides with the Red Bull of Joshua Barrett. He's in the wall. He loses his front wing, but there's no Red Bull. There's no caution and no safety car. As now he will keep going as he's trying to fight with a McLaren. Oh my goodness, what is happening right now in Sao Paulo?
I think you kind of just summed it up the best there. Sao Paulo. I mean, it's Interlagos. So, you know, Interlagos is always going to be a chaotic time. It never is simple when you come here to Brazil. And we are definitely seeing that here tonight. And honestly, I mean, this is probably one of the best tracks on the calendar. I mean, it is so hard to kind of beat Interlagos with the amount of drama and the amount of action that you get here. So, once again, it is crazy racing here at Interlagos. But when is it ever not crazy here at Interlagos?
You are right about that. But I think the thing is that we're seeing all this crazy stuff and it's not even raining. This is on the dry track. Usually we're used to seeing the craziness just because of the combination of the wet mixed with this track. And right now this is on a completely dry track and we're seeing all this stuff happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's just adds to the crazy factor of this circuit. I mean, we're going to see some good battles pretty much up and down the field here as we got Project Nemesis now trying to put some pressure onto Wildcat as one of our closer battles here. There's a bit of a gaggle here of cars, and they are just, I mean, it's dirty air is not super bad on this track, but through this sector it can really kind of bite, but it's really only this technical half of sector 2 here. But I mean, ultimately, we are seeing some good racing here. This is exactly why you guys should follow Rush NAEU if you don't already. I mean, it is our sole division here, but ultimately, it is just beautiful racing every single time. And Interlagos is definitely already a good candidate for race of the season, I'd say.
Yeah, it may not be as chaotic as we witnessed in Singapore yet, but I definitely agree that this has been some absolutely fantastic racing all around. I mean, besides from the one incident that Kuzneric had, so far it's been mostly clean racing. And I mean, even for the 2 leaders, Illyrian has been really keeping pace right behind Meraki Don as we are right now in lap 5, and CJ will get the first penalty of the race for multiple warnings of track limits, and he will get the first 3-second penalty of the race. But yeah, so far this has been absolutely great racing so far, and you guys should listen to Rekus. Hey, you guys all love Rekus, and he does a great job commentating. You guys should listen to him and definitely follow us here on Twitch. Or if you guys want to go watch it on YouTube, all of these VODs will be on YouTube for you guys to watch as well. So go ahead and follow it or subscribe and do it for Rekus. Do it for the great commentator that he is.
You act like you're not here with me every single time that I'm here, adding the same amount of value that I'm adding to this. I mean, it's your first season here, and honestly, I think you probably have a little bit of a fan base of your own here at Rush. So I mean, we are, according to some drivers, specifically a driver who's not here, he races for McLaren in the OCE division now. You've seen him here before. His name is H-Town, the Houston native, says that we are one of the best commentating duos in the entirety of Rush, which I don't entirely disagree. I know there are some pretty good duos, but also be sure to tune in to our regular channel, which is Rush Racing 09 on Twitch. We have 6 divisions of racing. Div 6 will have a makeup race on Tuesday. It'll be myself and the governor commentating together for the first time since the preseason eval races. Then that was a fun duo from season number 7 and season number 8. So good duo getting back together again. And then it is a silly season week, so we are on break for most divisions. I think NA is the only one that's not actually on break coming up, but so be sure to check us out on our other Rush Racing League Twitch for all 6 divisions and the Formula 2 series, which is Rush 09 or Rush Racing 09 on Twitch. So yeah, go ahead and follow there as well. And hey, if you get enough channel points, you can actually pick a track that'll be used next season. And we have a car off. It is the Racing Bull of Nasty Stew. And it won't affect anything here. It may bring out a safety car if he stays there too long, which would be a bit of a prayer answered for Illyrian, but overall, it doesn't change anything. And just talking about drivers who have kind of moved up and down here through the grid, the driver who has moved the most positions, and there's actually quite a few of them, Harold, Freed, and Trevor have all moved up 4 positions here in the race.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too. I've been particularly paying attention right now to that group with Trevor Splitsy and Joshua Bear. I got a little bit concerned as now I believe we have a safety. Yeah, safety car is out right now. Safety car deployed, and I'm not entirely sure what caused it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that Stu was spinning around quite a bit in the pits, but yeah, I don't know exactly what caused that. I didn't personally see it, but well, that kind of changes the complexity of this race there, huh?
Yeah, that's the first safety car of the race. And again, I'm with you. I also did not see what caused it. That looking at the full race map and going through down the order, I was not able to find any cars that were off the track or were crashed. So I'm not entirely sure, but you did see that with the safety car, you saw those drivers who were already toward the front stretch. They all dove into the pits already. So already some of the drivers already thinking strategy about where and how they want to address this race with this safety car now.
It's always interesting when we see these kind of things just actively play out on track. We always kind of talk about, you know, strategy is a key thing. And yeah, I think now here's the question: is everybody going to go on hards and try to just get to the end on that compound? Trevor is going to stay out. He is on the hard tire, so that kind of explains itself here. Yeah, Trevor, I think, will be the only driver to have not made a pit stop aside from Wildcat. Yeah, Wildcat is also not going to make a stop either. Freed has also opted to not make a pit stop, so a few drivers opting to stay out. But here's the thing, though, too. Actually, Meraki's in 4th, but pretty much everybody in the top 5, aside from Meraki, has not made a pit stop yet.
Yeah, and actually, here is the thing. This is an interesting strategy call that you talked about, going off of the mediums and seeing if maybe you can go all the way on the hards. It looks like Illyrian may be trying to do that. Illyrian went into the pit second, came back out in 6th on hards. Meraki Don came in on mediums. He swapped out for another pair of mediums instead of going to the hards. So right there, you can already see that there's a difference in strategy, and I'm curious to see where the end game is going to go with that, because it's an interesting decision to go for the medium compound, and maybe Meraki doesn't want to try and go to the end, but I guess we'll see where the strategy will go from here then. Just an interesting call.
Something that we do kind of see from time to time, if it is under a short quality, is sometimes drivers will have some extra tires saved up. So in theory, you could do medium, soft to get to the end of this, but we've had full quality, so I severely doubt that Meraki has that extra set of soft tires that he can really play with unless he's going to try to run on a scrubbed set of tires, which might not be the best call here, but yeah, it'll be interesting because when he does make a pit stop, when those mediums kind of die out, he'll be on fresh hards. We know Meraki Don is quick. And another thing too is that none of his championship rivals are even participating in today's Grand Prix. So that gives him a lot of freedom to really experiment here and just kind of mess around with strategy for a bit, as there is a 100% race on the penultimate round of the season. So maybe, granted, it is a much different track with different properties, but maybe just trying to get some strategy ideas for Jeddah. Kind of a stretch though, because those two tracks are pretty opposite.
Yeah, I'm not entirely. I'm kind of with you. I'm more curious just to see where it will lead. But I will say too that there might be another option that he may be trying to play for another safety car. He may be planning on. I mean, the Rush Racing League, as the safety car will be in this lap as we'll restart soon. Trevor will take control of the grid, but it's not entirely out of possibility that we may see a second safety car after this, and maybe that is what went into Meraki Don's thinking.
I mean, we did max out the safety cars in Singapore, so it is entirely possible here as we're about to go to green. We'll see as everybody will go when Trevor goes, and Trevor has decided that he's going to go ahead and fire away, and he's going to go ahead and get us the restart here. CJ's in the pits though, so that's an interesting one. We did lose Nasty Stu. He is out of the race, and Wildcat's tumbling down the order. Wildcat down into the lower reaches. He's on the bottom of the points, and he spun. So he might have some contact, but overall he did spin. He dropped several positions on the restart. Meraki Don now is closing in, trying to get past Harold. He's on the fresher mediums, and he's going to get that move done, and he's pretty much already on an attack. He wants to try to outlast Lyrian and try to make the most of those fresh mediums so he can make this two-stop work. He is going to just effortlessly get around Freed there, and now he's going to go chasing after Trevor.
Yeah, and you talked about Illyrian. Illyrian also tumbled down the order a little bit. He's currently in P11 right now. So this is, I don't think that restart could have been any better for Meraki Don. I mean, he went from P4, and in one lap, he's up into P2 and chasing down the lead on the best set of tires that you can probably have in the top 5. So right now, he's in the most prime position to win this race, I would say.
Indeed, I mean, he's got that pace, and the crazy thing is he's on a controller. So, and normally we don't think of the controller drivers really having a lot of pace, but Meraki Don on the controller is pretty dang quick. I mean, it is, like, at the beginning of last lap, or I guess around the middle part of last lap, he was about 1.2 seconds away from Trevor. Now he is only 0.2 seconds away from Trevor. So, he's already caught up to the back of that Mercedes, who is on those older hard tires, and he's going to try to get something done here. But once again, this is not a part of a track where you can really easily overtake, but just look at the gap he's already built to Freed. He's already freed himself from the DRS train of the McLaren behind by already 2 seconds, and now he's going to have DRS coming down the straight, and he waited for the detection zone. Here comes the DRS, and the Ferrari is going to prance his way back into the lead of the race, and man, just what a drive it's been from him so far on this restart. And there's contact. How that didn't end up worse is just a miracle.
What control! Now we were talking about controller and how hard it is to get pace on controller. Talk about how hard it is to hold your car straight when you have contact like that. I don't know how in the world he kept his car from spinning after that contact, but he's back in the lead, and he's almost up to a second already ahead of Trevor. And yes, he does. He's already got a second of pace over Trevor. Just Meraki Don is just, he's putting on a clinic right now. He's doesn't care what anyone else says about the controller. He's just showing up and showing out right now.
honestly, I mean, I think all the pace that Ferrari had from their actual 2025 F1 season just got translated into this man right here. I mean, Meraki Don is just firing on all cylinders. He's probably one of the few people that could probably actually bring a title back to Ferrari. Let's be real here. But yeah, I mean, it's been a very strong drive. This is what the Tifosi wish would happen every single week. Although they did have a pretty good qualifying result in Mexico in the real world. A few minutes before we got started with the race here. They got P2 and P3 in quali, so that's always, I think that's the best result of the season for Ferrari in terms of qualifying. But taking a look at the overalls in Rush, I mean, Ferrari did get taken over by Aston Martin in the overalls after the 100% race week in Abu Dhabi. But yeah, Ferrari is kind of in control here, and Meraki Don already about 2.5 seconds ahead just kind of showed us why.
Yeah, showing us why. I was spectating the one part. I reacted because we had almost the exact same thing happen that happened between Meraki Don and Trevor with contact, happened between Bear and Fareed going down into turn 1, and the same thing that Joshua Bear kept his Red Bull straight. And you're talking about the rookie right now, and look, he might be making a move right now, and he will. The rookie Splitsy is up into a podium position in P3 as he passes Joshua Bear, and Illyrian is also closing in as well. Illyrian was in P11. We talked about him earlier. He is up into P5, and he is now within DRS range of P4 and P3, as now Joshua Bear will make the move once again to get past Splitsy, as these three drivers will continue battling.
And battle they do. And honestly, you know who really benefits from these drivers is battling it out so much? As we have Barry FC off the track, going off right around turn number 6, in between turn 6 and 7 there. Getting just a bit too happy. Maybe he touched a little too much grass, which touching grass in slicks is never advised. But it does happen from time to time. But back to my original point. You know who really benefits from all these drivers just battling it out tooth and nail?
I think I already know. Meraki Don, absolutely.
Oh, well, him too. I was just going to say, and look at that. Just a raw speed of Splitsy just gets past, and Illyrian's going to try. He's going to give it the old college try. Doesn't work out for him. He gets a bit too deep. And actually, I'll just outright say it. I think the person or the people who really benefit the most are the fantastic viewers we have currently on Twitch and watching later on in the YouTube VOD. And us here in the commentary booth, because we are loving this battling right now.
Yeah, this has been absolutely incredible. That usually the crazy races we see is whenever it goes from a dry track to a wet track and we max out the safety cars. I think this has been the closest, and I think this has been the closest race that we've seen so far this season on like a complete dry and even like playing field so far. And this has been just a joy to watch, just as all of the drivers just battling their all the way through, as they're just giving everything that they can.
I mean, it's just the beauty of Interlagos, because Interlagos allows you to battle like this, to go ahead and just absolutely leave it all on the line, leave it all on the track. But Illyrian, we said it before, Illyrian does not take any prisoners. He will go for a move if he thinks there's a gap, but unfortunately that gap wasn't quite there. And now Splitsy and Joshua will go ahead and trade these positions back and forth like they're trading Pokemon cards or Pokemon in general back on the Game Boy days. For those of you who do remember plugging Game Boys in together to trade Pokemon, that was a crazy thing back in the day. Something I never really experienced, but I know you can do it like some other Nintendo games on the Game Boy Advance as well. And I think I just kind of aged myself there.
Yeah, because I can definitely say that a Game Boy was not something that I really grew up with. But that also might be aging myself as well. Just maybe not in the right direction. Maybe in the other direction.
Aren't you 21?
Yeah.
I'm 22, so God, that makes you feel. I don't know how I feel about that.
Hey, I grew up with the Wii. The Wii was my thing whenever I was younger. So, I mean, the Wii was the stuff. We didn't get to play. I didn't get to play F1 on the Wii, but the Wii was still the stuff.
Dude, Excitebots on the Wii is such a peak racing game. I actually played it recently, but I mean, you can have some pretty fun fights on there. But I mean, just like this fun fight we're seeing here between Joshua Bear and Splitzy, they're going to continue going at it. They trade that position yet again. And I think it's just going to be continuously trading these positions out in the DRS zone.
Yeah, and I mean, they've just been going back and forth. But I think what's fun is Freed will get a 3-second penalty for corner cutting after multiple warnings. I think the most interesting thing now is just Splitsy and Joshua Bear keep trading back and forth, but Illyrian is just lurking behind them. As now you can see all three of them right here, as we may see another Illyrian classic move here, as we're going to go down the front stretch into the DRS zone. And I'm curious to see what moves they'll make. It looks like Illyrian will choose to save his ERS, but no, Splitsy will go for it, and he's going to make the move stick. And he's going to grab P3 back once again. And I mean, just all together, just all these moves and everything is now, it looks like Joshua Bear is going to try once again, and he's going to do it as the back and forth battle continues once again.
And Joshua's off the track. Joshua is off into the runoff. He will kind of get the overtake there done, but I think actually Splitsy did push him off there potentially, so I think that might be all right. We'll see what the stewards kind of have to say about that one post-race, but I mean, while these guys are battling, Trevor and Meraki are basically in different zip codes right now, but here's the crazy thing too, right? Meraki's got to pit in again. Trevor has yet to pit. He's on 18-lap old hard tires, but and with these guys battling so hard, I mean, it's just giving them room, really just kind of room to stretch their legs and just start driving off in the distance. Oh. And Meraki Don with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pits. And I think this race might have just opened up here.
Yeah, and he's going to switch onto the hard compound as well. That is not... Oh, that is very, very... That puts him in a very bad position because you can serve that 10-second penalty in the pits, but obviously that means you have to pit again. And in a race like this, you want to go as far as you can on that hard compound and save. So now I really don't know what his plan is going to be, as there's another there's penalties everywhere, but Illyrian is going to get the 3-second penalty and Freed will retire from the session.
He's going to retire into the bits, he is called it there. So really, this could honestly be between Trevor, Splitsy, and Joshua. Honestly, it could, and Illyrian too, but Illyrian's got the 3-second, but this could really... Actually, here's something that just kind of crossed my mind here a bit. Splitsy could win this race. There is a good chance that a rookie could get a W here in this race, because here's the thing, right? They're going to fight it out.
Oh, he's going to go for the...
Oh, look at this Illyrian going to the inside! And this time he will potentially make a mistake. He's gonna try to stick it.
Still side by side going into the DRS zone.
DRS. Gonna try to take up Joshua. We'll see if he can get it done. Illyrian's gonna win out this time. But man,
they're still side by side. They're still fighting. Even after the turn splits, he's gonna get back into P2. They're still going, but it's gonna result in a penalty. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say.
It is all kicking off here in the final third of the race. Another penalty for Barry. But here's the thing too: is granted we won't know at this point, but that could be argued post race. Splitsy could put a report in saying that Larian pushed him off, and post-race he could get that penalty removed, which doesn't happen often, but I mean it can happen. We have seen it before. Can't remember the last time we have actually seen it though, but it does happen from time to time. But I mean, yeah, this actually leaves the door wide open for Joshua to get a win here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry for my reaction. Illyrian tried another move into turn 1 onto Joshua, but he just overshot turn 1, and Joshua goes back into the lead, and Splitsy will take over P2 and Illyrian in P3. I mean, I will give credit to Illyrian. He has just been going all out, going into turn 1 and just doing everything he can to secure that move. But it's just always the one little bit of whether either overshooting or having contact that ends up him losing the position again. But yeah, definitely these drivers have been absolutely battling back and forth this entire time. But now that I'm getting curious now, because they are all on the same lap of tires. They're all on 13 lap old tires. So I'm curious, and as I say that, Illyrian is going to peel into the pits.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Maybe he's going to go on a set of mediums to try to get to the end? Maybe? Or does he have... No, he doesn't have damage, so he's just going to go in and throw on us. No, he's got another set of hards. Huh?
Oh.
That's a interesting strategy call there. From the Sauber, gets really on the inside of that pit line. So I'm surprised he went on another set of hards. I don't think the hards are really falling off at this stage, but I don't know. I feel like the hards could have probably got to the end, although they did pit pretty early on though. They pit under the safety car, which was not even 10 laps in, so maybe those tires are really starting to fall off at this stage.
It is entirely possible, but I do think he could also be playing the long game, because realistically, he's not going to have to pit again. That with the hard compound, he's not going to have to pit again. But now look at this. Joshua Bear is also going to pit, and Splitsy's going to follow him, and they're both going to get 10 seconds. They both get 10-second penalties for speeding in the pit lane, and Meraki Don will slingshot into the lead, and that is going to help him out a lot.
I have no idea who's going to win this one now, man. I mean, Trevor's in a good spot. Here's the thing, Trevor is actually probably in one of the best spots to win this. Nishka's on old tires. Meraki's got a 10-second pen. And Trevor, I mean, Trevor's just within that 10-second window, so he'll get the win. Nishka's on 3 seconds, so that will, and he's got to pit in again maybe because he's on 16 lap old tires. But here's actually something else too, as I know we're talking about a lot of hypotheticals here, but the governor, if he somehow manages to stick it out on the set of tires, which I don't think he will because nobody else is really trying to stick it out, but he's got a chance. But we got drama in Sector 2. That might be...
It was Joshua Bear.
Pro?
No, Joshua Bear, he's going to go, and he hits the wall. He clips the grass going into Sector 3. He clipped the grass and he goes off the track, and that is going to hurt Joshua Bear's chances, as now he's going to have to pit for a full front wing and replace, but he will be able to take that 10-second penalty. I don't know what is going on anymore. This might be not the craziest thing that we've ever witnessed. And he retires, and Joshua Bear retires from the race.
So that is our third retirement on the night. We have lost Joshua Bear, we have lost Freed and Nasty Stew, all out of this race here in Interlagos in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So here's the thing though too, is if Trevor can stay within 10 seconds of Meraki Don, then Trevor could win this race here. He's in DRS range of Nishka, which is going to help him out quite a bit, as Nishka is going to peel off into the pits, but the detection zone's pretty far back, so Trevor will still get it. Now Nishka gets a 10 seconds pit lane violation. What is going on here in Brazil? I mean, I know Brazil's a wild place in the virtual world and in the real world, but I've seen NFTs with more sense in this race so far.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on. Is now Illyrian is going to make the move, and he's going to be back up into P3 past the governor. I'm running out of things to say. We have just about 10 laps to go here in the race, and I'm with you. I still have no clue who's going to win this race. I mean, Trevor is the one who looks the most poised, but he's right on the fringe as Meraki Don is doing his absolute best to negate that penalty. But yeah, this has just been an absolutely insane race from literally everything, from all the overtakes to the penalties and everything, and somehow it's not raining.
And here's the crazy part too, right? We still have 10 laps to go. There's still 10 laps of racing left to go here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's already been a crazy night here so far, and it just keeps getting crazier. Trevor on the brink as it sits right now. He is currently 9.8 seconds behind Meraki Don. He needs to stay within 10 seconds to get the race win here tonight. I mean, Trevor has the potential to get a really good result here for the Mercedes team. It's on the fridge now, but Meraki Don has gone to 10 seconds, so he is driving the wheels off of that SF25. He is going to continue on. He is in the clear now, but it just takes one trip into the grass, one wheel slightly in the wrong position to really throw this whole race asunder.
And something that will help Meraki Don as well is the fact that he is on that hard compound, that it looks like the medium compound has done really well, that like Trevor has been fast, but just Meraki Don has done so well on the hard compound. He's still gaining separation between him and Trevor, that it looks like just the hard compound is really working out for him in that Ferrari. And I mean, if he's able to overcome that 10-second penalty, I mean, it just feels like Meraki Don should have won the race regardless if he's able to pull this off. But even after that, I'm curious to see what else will happen, because remember, Illyrian in P3 and then Splitsy in P4 also have the 10-second penalties. So if they both drop off, there's a chance that Low Pro, Harold, Kuznarek, or even Barry could end up getting P3 and P4 as well. So just right now, just everything is just kind of up in the air as we're getting close to the end of this race.
I mean, here's the thing too, right? All the things you were mentioning are things that can happen on track, right? But there's also the potential of some post-race penalties coming out potentially for some of these drivers, or maybe some penalties might get removed. So yes, I 100% agree. There's a lot of drivers who are in really good spots for podiums here. I mean, Low Pro getting a podium, Kuznarek potentially getting a podium on his second race in Rush. I mean, here's the thing too, right, is granted, I don't know what Robert's interest is in competing in OCE, but OCE is going through silly season right now, so drivers can make, or teams can make a good amount of swaps. And right now, Aston Martin is in the lead of the overalls in OCE. So, I mean, if Robert is a free and willing agent in the driver market, then we could be seeing him competing in the Oceanic leagues here sooner rather than later. Because Kuznarek has been really impressive. He was impressive in Singapore, and he's been impressive here tonight. And just considering sometimes just staying clean and keeping out of trouble can pretty much give you the best races result possible sometimes.
Yeah, just kind of, I mean, we've talked about it before, and I think this is the first time we've mentioned it today, but consistency is key. And I think that is what Kuzmarek has done a great job of, both in Singapore and here, that just being consistent. I mean, he did have the incident early in the race, but after that, he has just been putting his head down, putting in the laps, or lap in, lap out, and he has slowly climbed up the ranks, and he's just done a good job of being consistent. That you'll notice that in these races, a lot of the drivers who tend to be higher up in the leaderboard are the ones who can just put a lap in, lap out, and just keep going no matter what. As just like that, as I say that, Kuzmarek is going to go ahead and make the move, as him and Nishka will both pass Harold, as Kuzmarek will move into P6 and Nishka into P7.
Indeed, yeah, we're seeing some. I mean, this is probably the race that has had the most fantastic battles on the night. So, I mean, you couldn't really ask for much better racing here, even if you tried. I mean, honestly, I honestly think that this is probably going to be race of the season. I mean, I know we got some really fun tracks coming up. I mean, Suzuka isn't my favorite track on the planet, but it is a sprint weekend, so that can always lead to some interesting moments. We also have Qatar, and then 100% Jeddah, and then we wrap up the season at Abu Dhabi for the season finale here at NA. So, I mean, not a lot of races left to go here, but I mean, it's still all up for grabs as we're closer and closer to the final 5 laps of the session, which is just baffling that this race feels like it's been so long, but it's been so short at the same time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like, just with everything that's been happening, it really kind of feels like this race has just flown by. And actually, I do want to call out now, Illyrian has closed the gap to Trevor, that now he is within a second of Trevor, and he was able to pit, so he did get rid of that 10-second penalty. So if he's able to get past Trevor, there's a chance that Illyrian actually may be able to get second behind Meraki Don.
We have a battle right back here. Nishka trying to get around the outside. Kuzmarek got a bit of a moment there. But now this is a three-way battle for P6. Nishka's on the fresher tires. He's on the freshest tires actually on this entire field, aside from his teammate. So the Haas team can come away with a pretty good points haul here, as we are officially in the final 5 laps of the race, soon to be final 4 laps of the race here. And I mean, it's been dominance here from Meraki Don for a good chunk of the race. It will be quite a grand slam because he hasn't led every lap here, but he had a 10-second gap and he pulled out that 10-second gap to negate his 10-second time pen. So I mean, there's a reason why this man is such a buffer in the Drivers' Championship in NAEU. So Meraki Don doing fantastic work here this season. I mean, he has hardly put a foot wrong here, or even the times he has kind of misstepped or made a mistake where he got that penalty. He's just had the pace to kind of just outrun the penalty, essentially.
Yeah, and there is not many drivers who can really do that. I mean, I think that we've really only seen like him and Tai be the ones who have been able to do this. Illyrian's gonna beat the move. Illyrian gets past Trevor in a very close battle as Trevor tries to get past, and now, oh my goodness, that was such a close call that the other Kick Sauber CJ had to get out of the way as they were both fighting. And it looks like now Trevor won't go for the move, so Illyrian will secure second place for now, but with a 3-second time penalty, now Illyrian has 2 jobs. He wants to get with 3 seconds ahead of Trevor, but you already know that Illyrian would try and get within the 10 seconds, but he only has a limited amount of time to do so.
Yeah, he does indeed. So once again, it's going to be really difficult, because something I've learned from my time doing endurance racing is, or multi-class racing in particular, is that traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. So traffic could really make or break your race. It's not as common in F1 race as it is in like multi-class racing, because you have the cars that are obviously much quicker. But traffic could really throw a wrench into one of the lead drivers, plans here, because very possible that Meraki Don could get boxed in by a lapped car, although he's got a good amount of weight before he hits that. He's got John and it's John and Wildcat, the drivers that are the next closest ones for him to lap, but as he's got about 2.5 laps of racing left to go, I don't think he's even going to catch up to them at that point, and he's probably not even trying to either. He's probably just trying to mitigate that gap. But here's the thing too, though, is that Illyrian has penalties himself. He's also got a 10-second, so actually, let me double check. Oh no,
No,
Illyrian's
he
only
only
got
has
a
a
3
3.
second.
Yeah, he only has
He's
a
only got
3
a 3.
second. He was able to pit and he got rid of the 10 second. So, and you can see right now he's get up to 2.5 almost. So now he has roughly 2 laps to try and secure second place away from Trevor.
Indeed, and I mean Trevor's on the older mediums compared to the hard tires, so I think this could be doable for Illyrian. I think it's honestly a very doable for Illyrian. He could 100% get that done and dusted, but once again, it'll be a fight. And look at his teammate, though. CJ going in and trying to get some moves in while he's ghosted. I'm sure Trevor isn't thrilled about that one, as now Illyrian does have the 3-second buffer. So I think our podium is pretty much locked in here. But can we just also talk about Splitsy again? He's going to get P4 in his debut race unless he has a massive mistake here. So, I mean, that's a fantastic result for the rookie.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic result for the rookie that I mean his first race ever, and he's gonna for sure obviously be in the top 7 or so. But the fact that he's right now this close, I mean, you can see how close he is to Trevor. He's not off of the pace. It's not like he's going to get P4 just because he's there. Like, he is fighting tooth and nail for these positions as Meraki Don will start the last lap. But yeah, great job by Splitsy right now in his debut race and showing up and showing out here, just being on pace with the other veterans of this league right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he has been a pretty standout star here as we're on the final lap of the race here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's been a crazy one, I will say. It's been a hectic race. It's been absolutely chaotic from start to finish here, but he's only got a handful of corners now left to go. Meraki Don has been on fire this season. He got a 10-second penalty. He said, screw your 10-second penalty, and built a 14-second gap to P2 on the second oldest set of tires on the field right now. He's making his way through the last couple of corners now. Meraki Don wins the Brazilian Grand Prix here in Sao Paulo. And it will be a victory well earned there. Illyrian will come home in second for the Sauber outfit. As Nishka retires towards the end of the session. I think he might have binned it. So Haas was on track to get some good points. And coming across the line, Trevor will go ahead and get the win, or get P3. Splitsy comes home in P4. Low Pro will come home in P5. And actually something I realized we didn't really do is driver of the day. So I guess we'll have to do that real quick.
Yeah, and as the other drivers are going to come across, Kuznarek, we talked about him a little bit. He's going to come across in P6. Harold P7. Governor will move up into P8 because of penalties. Great result for him and Haas. But yeah, we can go ahead and talk about driver of the day. I think it's probably going to be Meraki Don. I mean, how do you get a 10-second penalty and just kind of say screw it and just outrun everyone? I mean, just unbelievable job by him there.
I honestly would give it to Splitsy personally. Lopro will get cleanest driver of the day, so he'll get an extra point for that. Fastest lap does go to Trevor in the Mercedes. But yeah, so we're gonna just run through our final grid here. It is Meraki Don taking the win, followed by Illyrian, Trevor, Lopro, Splitsy, Robert Kuznarek, Harold, the Governor, Project Nemesis, Barry, Wildcat, John DT, Nishka, CJ, and then our retirees of Joshua Bayer, Freed and Nasty Stew rounding out our final positions here on the night. We'll throw a. Actually, here's what we can do. We're going to throw in a very quick prediction here, or a very quick yeah, I'm going to throw in a very quick poll here to see who gets driver of the day between the two. But in the meantime, we'll get Meraki Don, Illyrian, and Trevor into the commentary booth, and then we'll go ahead and ask them some questions. But, I mean, ultimately, what was your thoughts on the race here tonight?
What a race. I mean, that is mostly what my thoughts are. Like, this was... I said before the race that Brazil was my favorite track out of the whole calendar, and this race just demonstrated why it is my favorite race on the calendar. That just from everything from sometimes the bumper cars that we witnessed, the dive bombs into turn one, all of the aggressive racing, it just was everything that makes Brazil, and I just think that this was an absolutely fantastic race to watch.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, Brazil is always a certified classic of a track, but I mean, ultimately, it was a very hard fought battle. It wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination, as we have 2 out of our top 3 here. So let's go ahead and get these interviews underway. First and foremost, I'll let you go ahead and kick things off here with Potato, which is our race winner of Meraki Don.
Hello, hello. It's nice to be back. How's everybody doing?
We're all doing pretty good. I mean, we just witnessed one of the best Brazilian Grand Prix I think we've ever seen here. But how was the race from your perspective? Because you got that 10-second pen, and then you just kind of drove off with it.
It was more of like I'm not gonna say it was like challenging. It was just more like I had to think a lot more than normal. Because the reason I got the 10-second is I was going into the pit lane, what was it, lap 19 about to be 20, and I put my pit limiter on, and then as soon as I get to it, it goes off, and then it goes back on, but then I'm going 51 while I'm in it, and then it just gives me a penalty. I'm like, oh, dang it. I was going for 2-stop.
Yeah, we kind of noticed that you were attempting the 2-stop there. So I guess that was your plan all along. Any particular reason you were aiming for the 2-stop here in this race?
I aimed for the 2-stop because the medium tire was not gonna last the distance that it was supposed to really go, and I was like, if I do 2 medium stints, they'll still be on the hards going towards the end of the race. They'll have to do what, a 16 lap stint, 20 lap stint on mediums. They're not gonna make it that far. So I was like, well, I can pit twice for mediums and then pit my last stint on hards because I'll have the best tires at the end of the race. In which it did work. I was gapping Trevor, and then I was holding pace with Illyrian because he's pretty quick. That guy's pretty fast.
Indeed. So we got 2 more questions before we go ahead and let you go for the night here. It is going to be the final sprint weekend next time out in Japan at Suzuka. How confident are you going into that track?
I say it's about 50-50. It's more of a qualifying race. Like, it's like how it is in real life. Like, where you qualify is probably where you're going to finish if you don't bin it somewhere. So if Tai shows up, then it's probably going to be him, me, or if he doesn't show up, whoever else is up there. But I'm somewhat confident, I guess.
All right, last question before we let you go here. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out after that dominant performance here tonight?
I'd like to shout out my wonderful, wonderful commentators for giving me a good show to watch while I was all the way up in front. You know, I was just watching what's going on in the back. And then also, I want to give a big shout out to Trevor and Illyrian for keeping me on my toes the entire race.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on the race win, and we'll see you next time in Japan.
See you guys too.
All right, so next up, in our last interviewee on the night, the man who is runner-up in this race and scoring some really good points for the Sauber outfit, it is Illyrian. How are you doing today?
I mean, definitely annoyed. I'm not gonna lie to you, but after everything's all settled and done, I'll finish P3 behind the Mercedes driver because I had a 10-second penalty added to my race, so that'll put me in P3. But overall, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what Wildcat was doing. From the safety car restart, he lost about 3-4 seconds, which was completely stupid. I don't know what he was doing there. Then we hooked up on tyres. I lost all those positions. Then, obviously, I had a good couple battles with a lot of drivers, but unfortunately, there was 2 Bellens that just don't know how to race and literally just cost me so much time. Then I went for the undercut. It worked out at the end and managed to get at the podium. But other than that, to be honest with you, even if I was behind Meraki Don, I wasn't really going to fight him purely because my 10 seconds, it wouldn't have made any sense. Even if he got his 10 seconds, he probably would have undercut me. So either way, I wanted the P2, got P3 at the end, but it is what it is. Just move forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of drivers getting penalties, and the post-race stewards are going to have their hands kind of full because there was a lot of penalties. Some pens may get removed, some pens may get added, so we'll always have to kind of see how the post-race things go. But we are heading to Suzuka next time out for the final sprint race of the NAEU season. How confident are you heading into that race?
Probably not as confident as Meraki. I'm not really been a fan of... I love Japan, but on this year's game, it hasn't just worked with me. It hasn't clicked in, so who knows? As long as I get a podium, I don't care, honestly. It's just been a roller coaster of a season for me.
Indeed, and I think there's quite a few drivers who could say that as well, because it has been a very chaotic season here in NAEU. Last question before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out tonight?
Meraki Don. I was a bit annoyed he beat me in quali. I really wanted P1 in quali, but I can't complain on my man. He's doing the absolute best to maintain his championship lead, and he pushes me, man. And honestly, hopefully he stays for next season. Hopefully I could give him a proper battle for the championship, and we'll see how it goes. And also you guys as well. Thank you so much for your commentary.
Of course, I mean, when everybody gives us good action to commentate on, it makes our jobs pretty easy up here in the booth. Well, once again, congratulations on the podium, Illyrian, and we will see you next week. Take
care.
All right, that's going to go to wrap things up here in Rush NAEU. It is round 8 here in Sao Paulo, done and dusted. But next week, we take you to Japan from one historic venue to the other. It is going to be the final sprint weekend of the season. And GameHawk, any final thoughts?
As always, I hope that everyone enjoyed the absolutely fantastic action we saw, and I can't wait for Japan. Funny enough, Japan is also my second favorite track. So back-to-back favorite tracks for me. I already know it's going to be a lot of fun to witness, and especially with it being a sprint. But I will just echo that if you guys do enjoy all of the amazing action, please make sure to go follow us here on Twitch for more North American and EU action, and be sure to follow the main Rush Racing League account at Rush Racing 09, and subscribe to us on YouTube if you guys want to go back and see these races. But that's all for me.
Indeed, and like Illyrian, or actually no, like Meraki said, it's going to be a qualifying battle, especially because unlike Interlagos, Suzuka is a very narrow track. Dirty Air it's a bit of a tough one there in Japan, so it'll be definitely a different race compared to what we have here, but we get double the action, so we'll see how it goes. But on behalf of GameHawk, my name is Ben Patrick Coleman, and we've been your hosts and commentators for today's race. Before we go, just want to give a massive shout out to our sponsors, Sim Racing Center, Pagani, SimLab, and of course AI369. Thank you guys so much for supporting this league here. And thank you to everybody who has joined in the Twitch chat. We love you guys from the bottom of our hearts, and we wouldn't be doing this without you guys. So once again, thank you for your never-ending and continuous support. And tune in next week when we head to Suzuka for the final sprint of Season 5 of NAEU. Have a good night.